Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're getting into something huge, something that really shapes, well, almost everything we do online. We're talking about digital platform businesses. The giants like Amazon, Google, sure, but also the ones you use every day, maybe Airbnb, Uber, that kind of thing. And for this deep dive, we're really digging into a fascinating question. Why do some of these platforms just take off, become global forces, while others, maybe with great ideas, just don't? It's often called the platform paradox, that tricky balancing act. So, our mission today: unpack 15 key factors that seem to make or break these platforms. And we're pulling our insights straight from a really interesting source called Platform Paradox: 15 Factors for Digital Dominance.
Exactly. And the idea here is to give you, our listener, the essentials, the nuggets you need to really understand this model, whether you're maybe thinking of starting something or investing, or honestly just curious about how this digital world actually ticks. This stuff is pretty fundamental.
Okay, let's jump in. First up, probably the biggest one, the cornerstone people always talk about: network effects. This isn't just more users equals better, it's more strategic. It's about creating this cycle, right? Where every new person joining actually makes the platform more valuable for everyone else already there. It's like a flywheel spinning faster and faster, the real secret sauce. Think about Facebook's early days. That explosive growth was pure network effect fuel.
Right. But the concept sounds simple, maybe. Actually igniting it, getting that initial critical mass,
Yeah.
that's the really hard part. So many platforms hit that chicken and egg wall, which comes first, users or value. Remember, too, that social network. They promised to share ad revenue, which sounds pretty good, but they just couldn't get enough people on board fast enough to make the network valuable, couldn't get the flywheel started. They shut down, 2016? It just shows great idea, maybe even a good incentive, but without hitting that critical mass.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a perfect example. And, tied right into that is the pricing strategy. Specifically, this art of subsidization. Platform pricing, it often seems totally upside down compared to traditional business, doesn't it? The smart ones figure out which side of the market to basically give a discount to or even make free to attract the other side they actually want to monetize. Amazon Prime is like the textbook case. Free, fast shipping for consumers. Built incredible loyalty. And that pulled in tons of sellers, right? Then Amazon makes money from seller fees, more sales volume overall. It's a long game, but wow.
But what happens if you get that balance wrong? Sidecar, remember them. Early ride-sharing player. They were innovative, definitely, but their pricing was maybe too traditional, especially for drivers. They just didn't incentivize enough drivers onto the platform quickly. Meanwhile, Uber and Lyft, fueled by massive VC funding, were throwing subsidies at both riders and drivers. Super aggressive. They just swamped Sidecar. Or think about MoviePass, that unlimited movie ticket model. Insane growth initially, but completely unsustainable. Burn through cash and, well, bankruptcy followed. Pricing is delicate.
So true. And even if the price is right, you've got to keep people hooked. Which brings us neatly to user engagement, the sticky factor. In this attention economy we're all living in, engagement, that's the real currency, isn't it? If users don't have a strong reason to come back again and again frequently, you're kind of finished. Look at TikTok. Just look at it. Its rise was meteoric. Why? That algorithm, hyper-personalized content, super easy creation tools, people spend, what, an average of 52 minutes a day on it? That's not just engagement, that's deep, it's sticky.
Yeah, and it's not just about time spent, is it? It's about
Yeah.
delivering something valuable, something maybe even novel, consistently. Google plus F, for example.
Mm.
Google had all the resources, a huge existing user base. But plus, it just didn't offer something unique or engaging enough compared to Facebook or Twitter. There wasn't that core reason, that hook, to make people want to check it daily. So eventually it just faded away. Even giants can miss the mark on engagement.
Absolutely, engagement matters. But underpinning so many platform interactions, especially transactions, is trust and safety. I mean, you're often connecting total strangers. Trust isn't just nice to have, it's fundamental. Airbnb, again, built their whole business on this. They were smart about it from the start. Transparent reviews, secure payments, that $1 million host guarantee, that was huge for getting hosts comfortable. It built confidence.
And it's fascinating how trust mechanisms need to fit the market. Look at eBay trying to crack China early on. Alibaba's Taobao basically ate their lunch, partly by introducing Alipay, an escrow system. In a market where people were understandably nervous about paying upfront for stuff online from strangers, Alipay held the money until you confirmed you got the goods, solved a huge local trust issue. So it's not just having trust systems, it's having the right ones for the context.
Good point. Context matters. And so does timing. Getting into that Goldilocks zone. Not too early, not too late. If you're too early, maybe the tech isn't there, or people just aren't ready for the idea. Too late. Competition's already dug in. Uber, you could argue, had near-perfect timing. Launched right as smartphones were becoming truly ubiquitous. That seamless connection, driver-rider GPS. Plus, people were getting comfortable with on-demand everything. Perfect storm.
And the flip side, Quibi. Quibi, short-form premium mobile video, launched April 2020, right into the teeth of the pandemic. Their whole pitch was content for watching on the go, in short bursts, like commuting. Suddenly everyone's stuck at home, binge-watching Netflix on big screens. The timing couldn't have been worse. Massive funding, big names, didn't matter. Out of sync.
Wow, yeah. Talk about bad timing. Okay, so those are some foundational pillars, but getting launched is one thing, staying power is another. Let's shift into operational strength and ecosystem cultivation. This feels like the next stage. And it often starts with pure resources. Funding and resources, fuel for the fire. In the platform world, let's be honest, deep pockets often make a massive difference. It allows you to survive those early lean years, subsidize growth. Uber again, right? They raised staggering amounts of VC. That let them expand like crazy, offer those cheap rides, and basically just outspend rivals like Sidecar, DoorDash too, fueled by huge investment rounds to just grab market share city by city.
It's a high-stakes game. And it's interesting, there's data showing the average lifespan for many gig economy platforms is surprisingly short, like under 5 years. 4.9 years, I think the source said, which just screams how vital those resources are. You need that runway to actually achieve the network effects, to figure out the path to profit. Without it, many just run out of gas.
A brutal reality. Okay, assuming you have the funding, you also need quality control. Guarding the gates, so to speak. Keeping standards high for whatever's being offered on your platform, products, services, content that's vital for reputation, for trust, for keeping users long-term. Think about Apple's App Store. A big part of its success and the loyalty it commands is that perception of quality, strict curation, vetting apps. It creates a trusted environment.
And when that slips, it can hurt. Alibaba's Taobao, we mentioned them earlier, they faced huge challenges with counterfeit goods early on. Really damaged trust. They had to invest massively in anti-counterfeiting tech and processes to rebuild that. It's an ongoing battle for many marketplaces. Or look at Parler. Their struggles with content moderation led to them being kicked off app stores. That shows quality control isn't just about users, it impacts your critical partnerships too.
Definitely. And beyond just controlling quality, the really smart platforms focus on ecosystem management, nurturing the garden. They don't just operate alone. They build these thriving communities, ecosystems of partners, developers, complementers, people who build on or around the platform, making it more valuable. Android's open approach is a prime example. It fostered this huge ecosystem, countless phone makers, millions of app developers. That variety and innovation is a massive strength.
Steam, the gaming platform, is another great one.
Yeah.
Purified game developers with the tools, the APIs, the audience. It creates this win-win. Developers get distribution and a market. Gamers get a massive library. Steam manages that whole ecosystem brilliantly. Makes the platform indispensable for PC gaming.
Indispensable is a good word. But to handle that kind of success, you need scalability, building for growth, the ability to handle sudden, sometimes massive surges in users or activity. That's absolutely make or break. I still remember Twitter's early days, the fail whale. Remember seeing that error page all the time? Their servers just couldn't keep up with the growth. It was a real threat. They had to invest hugely in their infrastructure to scale. A painful but necessary lesson. Build for the future load.
And a more recent dramatic example, Zoom during the pandemic. Incredible scaling. They went from, 10 million daily participants to 300 million in just a few months. 300 million. That doesn't happen by accident. That requires a seriously robust, cloud-based architecture designed for exactly that kind of elasticity. It showed the power of being ready to scale.
Unbelievable numbers. But as platforms scale and disrupt, they inevitably run into regulatory navigation. Charting compliant waters, as the source puts it. You shake up established industries, you attract attention, often regulatory attention. Airbnb is constantly in negotiation, it seems, with cities all over the world about short-term rental rules, taxes, zoning. It's this ongoing dance.
Yeah, a complex dance, and sometimes those regulatory battles fundamentally change the game. Look at all the legal fights Uber has faced globally. That UK Supreme Court ruling calling drivers workers, not contractors, that has huge implications for their costs, their operating model, maybe even their long-term profitability. Regulation is a massive external factor these platforms constantly wrestle with.
Okay, deep breath. We've covered foundations, operations. Let's get into our final section. User-centric evolution and long-term viability. This feels crucial for staying power. Starting with user experience, UX. the invisible differentiator. Sometimes it's subtle, but a really smooth, intuitive, even enjoyable interface. That makes a huge difference. It's why people stick with certain apps over others, even if the core function is similar. Spotify, for instance. Part of their success is just how easy and pleasant it is to use. Finding music, those personalized playlists, the UX is just good. It keeps people subscribed.
And let's bring back Quibi one last time. Funding. Check. Content. Check. But the UX, it was awkward. That weird turnstile feature forcing you to rotate your phone. People found it jarring, not innovative. Content discovery wasn't great either. It just goes to show, if using the platform isn't a smooth, intuitive experience, even billions in funding can't save you. Bad UX can be fatal.
Fatal. Strong word, but probably true sometimes. Next up, data management and privacy. This is such a double-edged sword today. Platforms gather incredible amounts of data, it's a huge asset personalization, efficiency, predicting trends. Amazon is the master of this, right? Using your data to recommend products, streamline logistics. It's core to their dominance.
But that's the liability side is massive too. Get it wrong, and the backlash is severe. Facebook and Cambridge Analytica is the classic cautionary tale. That scandal shattered trust, led to huge fines, intense regulatory heat. It shows the immense responsibility that comes with holding user data. And interestingly, you see Apple trying to make privacy a selling point now.
Yeah.
Things like app tracking transparency. They're positioning strong data governance as a competitive advantage, a different path.
A very different path. Okay, moving towards the end here, differentiation. How do you stand out when there are so many platforms vying for attention? You need something unique, a clear value proposition. Snapchat did this really well early on. Ephemeral messages, those fun filter stories. It felt different, playful. It carved out a niche, especially with younger users, even with Facebook breathing down their neck.
And the counterexample, Vine. Remember Vine? 6-second videos. It was brilliant, innovative at the time, but it didn't really evolve. It stayed just second videos. Meanwhile, Instagram added video, longer formats, more tools. Vine failed to adapt to differentiate beyond its initial gimmick, and eventually Instagram and others just absorbed its user base. It faded away.
Which leads perfectly to our penultimate factor, adaptability. Evolving or evaporating. The market shifts, tech changes, user tastes evolve. Platforms that survive long-term are the ones that can pivot, adapt, even reinvent themselves. Netflix is the poster child for this, surely. Started with DVDs by mail, then streaming, then producing their own original content, becoming a studio. Incredible adaptation over decades.
Absolutely. And the flip side, BlackBerry. A giant in its day. Dominated mobile email. But they just couldn't or wouldn't adapt fast enough to the touchscreen revolution ushered in by the iPhone and Android. They clung to the physical keyboard, their enterprise focus. By the time they tried to pivot, it was too late. The market had moved on. A brutal lesson in the need for adaptability. Strategic inertia can kill you.
Sobering thought. Okay, last one. Number 15, balancing growth and profitability, the long game. We talked about funding aggressive growth early on. That's often necessary to get those network effects spinning. But eventually, you have to make money, right? The platform needs a sustainable business model. Amazon famously prioritized growth over profits for years, reinvesting everything back into the business, expanding into new areas. It was a long-term bet that obviously paid off spectacularly.
But it is a long game, and not everyone gets there easily or even at all. Think about Uber and Lyft, still wrestling with consistent profitability even after going public years ago. It shows that even after achieving massive scale and network effects, that final step turning dominance into reliable profit remains a huge hurdle for many big platform players.
Yeah.
It's the ongoing challenge.
Wow. Okay, so that's the 15. Network effects, pricing, engagement, trust, timing, funding, quality, ecosystem, scalability, regulation, UX, data, differentiation, adaptability, and finally, that balance between growth and profit. It really does paint a picture of that platform paradox, juggling all these demanding, sometimes contradictory factors. It's complex.
It absolutely is. And understanding these dynamics, even at a high level, is just so important today. If you're an entrepreneur, an investor, a policymaker, or honestly, just anyone trying to make sense of the digital economy, knowing these factors is key.
Couldn't agree more. So here's something to mull over as we wrap up. We've talked about 15 critical factors. In today's world, constantly changing, which one do you think is the single toughest challenge for platforms to consistently get right? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.